Hello everyone, this is Surya and welcome to Be a Geek. In today's video, we are going to solve a very important question from HackerRank Java Static Initializer Block, and it is the main topic of Java: static variables, static block, and static functions. These are the most important part of Java. So in this problem, we have to find out the area of a parallelogram. Here we have to input breadth and height, and in case any of the value of breadth or height is negative, we have to print breadth and height must be positive. Otherwise, we have to print our area. So if you can see that we have two inputs. First, we have breadth and second, we have height. Here, the area is 3. But in case of negative number, we have to print Java language exception, breadth and height must be positive. And if you see over there, we have to print this. But this part, Java language exception, it is an exception which we can throw. So we will throw an exception from there with message breadth and height must be positive. So in this video, we will learn about two things. First is static, which is most important, and another one is how we can throw custom exceptions in Java. And these custom exception is also the most important part of Java. And in if you are a developer and you are planning to become a developer of Java, then these two things like static and exception are the most critical one. And you can use exceptions to handle many things in your code. Let's talk about the input format first and then we will continue with our code. Here we have breadth and height, and the maximum and the minimum value is between -100 and +100, and also we have to initialize these values inside a static block. So let's see how these things work. Now let's talk about what is static. So are static variables. So in Java, we can create two type of variable, a static variable or a normal variable. Now let's talk about these static variables. Let's say I have a class C, and that class has a variable, let's say V1, and this V1 is a normal variable. Now if I want to use this variable, first I have to create an object of class C. Then in that case, I can only use this variable V1. In another case, let's say if I have a variable V2 and this variable is a static variable, in that case, I can directly use this variable V2 without creating our object. So what I can do in case of V2, I can use it directly. Let's say I can use it like this, C dot V2. Our static variable are related to our class, but our normal variable can only be accessible through our objects. So that's how our static variable work. And one more thing about static variable is that these variables get loaded into our memory when our class get loaded. So let's say I wrote a class. Let's say I have a class C1 and this has an implementation, and in that class I have a static variable by the name C1, and I do not create any object of this class C1, and I have another variable. Let's say I have int. When I will compile this code and our class get loaded, in that case in our memory I will have a block for C1 without creating the object of that class. And if I create an object of that class C1, let's say the object O1, then in that case only I will create an block for our integer I. So our static variable get loaded into our memory when our classes got loaded into our memory. So this is the main difference between static variable and our normal variable. Now let's talk about how static block work. Static block is also work the same as our static variable work. So this is our class solution and we have a main function. In my previous videos, I was stating that the first statement inside my main method got executed first because the main method is the entry point of my Java problem. Let's say I have a statement where I am printing main. But what does a static block do? Let's say I have a static block, and inside that, let's say I am printing static. Okay. So what happened here? If I run this code, my static block will got executed first, and after that my main block will got executed. So whatever is static, either is a static block, either it is a variable or a static function, then it got loaded into our main program when our class got loaded. So here also our static block got executed first before our main function, and our main method is also static. This is because for our program the entry point is also main method. So that is how we can create a static block. Now let's create two static variables. Let's say static int, uh, first we have b, and after that we have static int h. So these are two variables. For first b is for breadth and second h is for height. In my static block I will create a scanner sc is equals to new scanner system.in, and then after that I will took input for b, and after that I will took input for h. So b is equals to sc dot next int, and h is equals to sc dot next int. So that's how we took input for our h and b. And after that, what we have to do? We have to print our area. And if any of the value from b and h is negative, then we have to throw an exception, and then we will catch that exception, and then we will print. Okay, what we will print? We will print Java lang exception breadth and height must be positive. Okay, so if I want to throw an exception, so I have to write my code into a try block, and after that I will write another block with catch, and there I have to catch that exception. Let's say I am throwing an exception from this block, and after that I will catch that exception inside this E, and I will use that E to handle that exception. Now if the value of b and h is positive, then we have to print our area. Let's say if the value of b is greater than 0 and h is greater than 0, then in that case we have to print our area. So what I will do, I will use s out b multiplied by h will be our area. Okay. Let me put it small. So this is our area. Now if this condition got failed, then our value is negative. So in that case, what we have to do? We have to throw an exception. So if we want to throw an exception, we can use a keyword throw, and from there we will use a class, Java lang class by the name exception, and between that we will give our message. So in case of negative, we have to print breadth and height must be positive. So we will give our message with our exception. So what is happening here? Here I want to throw an exception in case the value of b and h is negative or equal to 0, because this is our condition for the message. Our b is less than is equals to 0 or h is less than is equals to 0. So from there we throw an exception with the message breadth and height must be positive, and we are catching that exception inside our catch block where we have the same input class exception, and here we are getting the value inside E. So our E has that message, because if you see the implementation of our exception, our exception is taking our input as a string. And now if I want to print the message, so what I will do, I will use sout and e dot get message. This is a predefined function inside our exception class. So I will use e dot get message to get the message, which is this. But here we also have to get the name of the class, Java lang exception. So what I can do, to get the name of my class, I can use e dot get class. Okay, not get close. I have to use get class, and after that I will use get name to get the name of that class. And I have to print colons also, because after the name of class I have colons. So this will be okay, so this will be our final code. Let me try to run this. And if I put a positive number 1 multiplied by 8, then the area will be 8. And in case I put a negative number 1 minus, okay, minus 8, then I am getting an exception, Java lang exception, breadth and height must be positive. So this is our final code. So what I did here, we have two static variable b and h, and inside static block we are taking input inside b and h, and after that I am using try and catch to print the value. In case our value of b and h is positive, then we have to print the area. Otherwise, I am throwing an exception, breadth and height must be positive, and I am catching that exception after where I am printing the message with the class name of the exception. So let me copy this code and okay, Control Z. Okay, let me copy this. Okay, let me put it over there and run my code. And our test cases should be passed. Let me submit it, and our all test cases got passed. And if you want to copy this code, there is a link in the description. You can go to that link, and from there you can copy the code. So this is the code which you will get from that link. So you can just copy this code from there, and if you want to paste this, you can just paste it and submit the code. So okay, I'm pasting into an wrong problem, so I have to paste it over there. So this will work perfectly fine. And this is the website. From there you can get the solution of every question. I am uploading the questions and their solution one by one. So I will cover all the questions from this playlist of HackerRank. Now in the next video we will learn more about Java, and we're gonna solve another problem, Java int to long, int to string. So that's it for this video. Let's meet into the next video. Till then, take care, thank you, and bye bye.